5. Now I'm color coding this. Isaiah 5 and number 2. And verse 2, then verse 11 through 15. Okay. Okay. So it says, my beloved, my well-beloved has a vineyard on a very fruitful hill. He dug it up, cleared out its stones, and planted it with the choicest vine. He built a tower in its midst and also made a wine press in it. So he expected it to bring forth good grapes, but it brought forth wild grapes. Now, and now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, please, between me and my vineyard. Yeah. What more could have been done to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why then, when I expected it to bring forth good grapes, did it bring forth wild grapes? And now, please, let me tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, and it shall be burned, and break down its wall, and it'll be trampled down. I will lay it waste, it shall not be pruned or dug, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no more on it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. Okay? And the men of Judah are his pleasant plant. Now, I want you to look at this concerning the wickedness, the ungodliness, and the unrighteousness of men who suppress at the house of God, because this is where this judgment begins, against them who oppress our truth in their ungodliness. God says they're without excuse. 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, he says, I'm going to purge. I'm going to purge. Let us purge out this leaven. He purges it. He purges the works of their hands. He lays the axe to their roots below, and the fruit above is cursed. Now, I don't care how long it looks like they have gotten away with it. I don't care how successful their operations, their ministries, the works of their hand. I said, this is at the house of God, and I'm not going to take it back. It begins at the house of God. Now, your head would have to be in the sand somewhere. It completely in the sand somewhere. To not know the ungodliness, the wickedness, and the unrighteousness of men that are operating and oppressing God's people, subverting whole households right here at the house of God. False wolves in everybody's clothing. False apostles, false bishop, false archbishop, false miracle workers, false psalmists, false teachers, false prophets, false pastors, false evangelists. And the list just go on and on and on. So we welcome the purging that first has to happen at the house of God. He says, I will lay them waste. He's not talking about everybody. God's modus operandi has always been a distinction. He'll make you a Goshen. And even within Goshen, he told him, it better be some lamb's blood on the house. He even brought distinction within Goshen. If in Goshen they was trampling the blood of Christ that purchased them, if in Goshen they was insulting the Spirit of grace, his judgments got him. So we welcome him. Take away the hedge of those at the house of God who are operating in all manner of false, masquerading as servants of righteousness. Take away their hedges so that they can be burned. Break down their walls, and it shall be trampled down. Lay them waste. Let briars and thorns come up. I don't care how big they are. I don't care how little they are. Command the clouds that they rain no rain on them ever again. Says the Lord of hosts look for justice, but behold, oppression. He looked for righteousness, but behold, a cry for help, wailing, nothing but wailing from the wicked who were waxing stronger and stronger at the house of God. So we know if these things are operating at the house of God, then they most certainly have a right to exist in the kingdoms of men, because we are the standard. My God. Now, 11 through 15. Yes, I got that. 11 through 15 says, woe to those who rise early in the morning, that they may follow intoxicating drink. Now, let me tell you, I know that they could be talking about alcohol literally, but I want you to think about the effects of an intoxicating drink. The effects of an intoxicating drink can be some very lewd behavior and can be some very vain imaginations. That they may follow intoxicating drinks, pursue, who continue until night, until wine inflames them. The harp and the strings, the tambourine and the flute, and wine are in their feasts, but they do not regard the work of the Lord, nor consider the operation of his hands. This begins at the household of God. I'm telling you, everything that glitters not gold. Everything that's naming the name of the Lord. No, there is strange fire, strong delusion, false. The harp, it says they have harp, they have strings, they have tambourine, they have flute, and wine are in their feasts, but they do not regard the work of the Almighty, nor consider the operation of his hands. No fear of the Lord. Verse 13, therefore my people have gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge. Their honorable men are famished for knowledge. Their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore Sheol, Hades, has enlarged itself and opened its mouth beyond measure. Their glory, their multitude, and their pomp, and he who is jubilant shall descend into it. People shall be brought down, each man humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. You know, when we're talking about Sheol, when we talk about death and Hades, when God made me really begin to study the activities, the spirits of death and Hades, I found out that 95% of their activities are among the living. Envy is one of them. And that's why the Bible says envy is crueler than Sheol. Envy is crueler than the grave. Sickness, disease, all of those woes, bane, blight, cares, oppressions, anxieties, men's hearts failing them for fear, all manner of evil loads against our minds and against our wills, against our emotions, against our soul man, against our mental health, against our physical body, all manner of diseases, all manner of inflammations. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. My God. Wow. Who put light for darkness for light and light for darkness. Who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Wow. It says, woe to those who call evil good, good evil, who put darkness for light, light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe to men mighty at drinking wine, mighty at vain imaginations, mighty in vanity. Woe to men mighty at drinking wine, woe to men valiant for mixing intoxicating drink, who justify the wicked for a bribe and take away justice from the righteous man. It says, therefore, as the fire devours the stubble and the flame consumes the chaff, so their root will be as rottenness. Look, their blossom will ascend like dust. Wow. Because they have rejected the law of the Lord of hosts and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore, the anger of the Lord is aroused against, first, at the house of God. When it says his people, not all his people, but at the house of God. Those who are operating wickedly at the house of God. He stretches out his hand against them and strickens them, and the hills tremble. Their carcasses are as refuse, trash in the midst of the streets. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Wow. Wow. My God. Now, I'm going to cut this off. I got to do number 10.